Still says scheduled.
It's coming.
Oh, here we go.
Boom.
We are live.
We are.
Let's give it a few a rolling little bit before we get started. We'll let the regulars join us for our regular Thursday night pubcast. No comments coming in yet, but I'm sure that the crew will be on before too long.
Here we go.
Corey, g'day. Oh, and Anthony and Tim. Do we have to be professional now? Tim, we expect nothing but professional from you at all times, mate.
Guys, speaking of Tim Ford, I was talking to Jeff Fader, and I posted the thing that Corin posted, and Jeff commented, "Oh, I'm 1 month too late," because he posted the initial one. It said that this podcast was going to be aired on September.
Oh. Yeah, that was me. There's a little bit of that. I fixed it up. Tim did that though. That was Tim's fault.
Yeah, we blame Tim is a really good scapegoat for these sorts of things. It doesn't matter what goes on, Tim will get the blame. Unless it's good.
Poor Tim. He has no voice.
He's got a voice, but it's just a squeaky little thing in the background.
All right,
yeah.
Let's go.
Righto. Well, we've got a few people online now. It's a regular Thursday night proceeding. Welcome everyone to Knife Making Down Under podcast, or pubcast as we like to call it on a Thursday night. Tonight we have a couple of guests with us from Klingspor. You should all know Klingspor at the moment, especially given the Gameco or Artisan Supplies recent group buy. And guys, would you like to give yourselves a quick introduction to the listeners for us?
Sure. So my name's Paul Hoy. I'm managing director of Klingspor in Australia, and I've been involved with Klingspor for about 30 years now in the UK and now in Australia. So hopefully I should know what I'm talking about. Fingers crossed. If not, then I've got Frank as well. So Frank,
yes.
You introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Frank Chirico. I am National Marketing and Training Manager at Klingspor. I've been there just over 8 years now, but been in the abrasives game for over 20. So we're very pleased to be with you tonight and to share what we do with you.
Thank you for joining us.
Fantastic. We were really actually quite happy and excited when Corin said that he'd organised you guys to come on and have a little chat with us. It's a really nice thing to get the actual guys from the industry that we're using your products every day, or especially guys like me that are the full-time makers. We're using your guys' product every day. So yeah, it's fantastic to get you guys on board.
Yeah, thanks for asking.
Also, so we have no worries. So we've got Paul and Frank, and we've also got, we can't forget the legendary Mert Tansu from Tansu Knives, who's just popped up top, and down the bottom now in the Brady Bunch screen on the left there, Corin from Gameco and Artisan Supplies. So as you know, Artisan Supplies are, well, I would have to say at the moment, the prominent dealer of Klingspor products, definitely in Australia. And it was really nice of you, Corin, to sort these guys out for us for a chat.
Well, it's been a sort of long time coming. We've been dealing with Klingspor now since pretty much the early days. Most people know the story, and they've jumped on and supported us in a big way. Their products are excellent, exceptional, and basically these Reaper belts that we're now marketing have been around for a while. There's no question about that, but they're just phenomenal, and it's kind of like the little, like, it's a little secret of some of those knife makers that have been using them for a long time, like the likes of Adam Parker and so forth, that have been using these belts for years and knowing how good they were. And we've cottoned on. It took a little while. We did a deal with Klingspor to get them into the market, and we just took a pallet of two. We just took delivery of 2 more Gaylords. That's a pallet box, guys. I
Gaylord.
learned that.
Right.
Gaylord box.
Okay.
Google it. That's the box we use. They're called
Yeah.
Gaylords.
Let's wait for the listener comments now, because I have to admit, Corin gave me a call today, and I was sitting in the. Thankfully, it pulled up the car at home. In the
I'm
driveway.
serious. This is guys, that's what they're called. You Google Gaylord boxes, Google images, and you'll see what a Gaylord pallet box is.
I think
Anyway,
he's taking the piss out of us. Frank, what do you think?
Yeah, well,
I think so too.
2 Gaylords in the boxes. Yeah.
Being the true blue Aussie guy.
We don't, no, I'm not that way
we've got
inclined.
2 Gaylords
I'm not here. No, don't be so sexual. Don't take this where it's not supposed to go. That's no. I am.
You
no,
knew it
that's
was
wrong.
going there.
You look it up. I looked it up. My boys said they're called Gaylord boxes. I said no, they're not. That's just wrong. You can't say that in my workplace. I googled it. They're called Gaylord boxes. I'm moving on with life. Anyway,
you took a lot of belts. A lot of belts. Yeah.
Yes.
So, Corin and I, Tim and I, checked in 2 big Gaylords today. So that's what we did.
Look,
now
last time I visited your workshop, you were doing 2 pallet loads of G10. All I can say is I'm thankful that I wasn't up there while you two were doing 2 Gaylords.
I actually wrote a little song. I was singing the whole time. It went saying like, Timmy's fucking it up, doo-da, doo-da. Anyway, we got through it in the end. And Matt Snape knows what they're called. See, they are called. That's what they're called.
Yeah.
I am not in any way discriminating against anyone. I never would. So there we go.
You just opened us up to that, but yes.
You learn so much on these podcasts. It's amazing.
Yeah. You really do.
It's an education. It's an education.
Yeah, there's nothing but useful information coming out of these lips.
No, that's exactly right. So here we've got the guys from Klingspor. They've kindly taken their time out tonight to join us, and the idea of this is twofold: that they'll tell us a bit about who they are and what they do, because there's a lot of people in the abrasive industry, and they'll tell us what makes them a little bit different. And the other thing is, guys, this is a perfect opportunity for you guys to ask any questions you have on abrasives and not get the bullshit answers that we make up. You can actually ask people that work in the industry.
Yeah. And get our bullshit answers.
Yeah, he says we won't make them up.
Yeah,
but it's still better than my bullshit answers. All right.
I'll be diligently taking notes, fellas, just so that I can relay the expert advice that we're given tonight.
Corin, as we know, mate, it's all in the delivery.
Yeah, that's it.
Good.
Oh dear.
So, yeah, keep the please don't. Yeah, anyway, it's all good. I wasn't being stupid with the Gaylord box. It's actually a thing, and I just found that amusing for whatever puerile reason. Right? All right. Hey, right. So where are we going? Abrasives. We'll start off, I think, if it's all right with Kevin Mert. We'll just do a round, talk about what we've been doing this week, and let's give it a go. Go for it, Mert.
What about what I've been doing? I don't know if you guys remember, a few months ago, me and my friend, we went to a little camping trip, and him being an outdoorsman, he had a little axe with him, he had a Mora knife, and me, a knife maker, I had nothing. I felt,
Didn't you take your sword?
No, I didn't have the sword back then, but we went to an outdoor camping thing, and as a knife maker, I had fucking nothing, and I felt like naked. I went in the corner underneath the tree. I crawled and I cried. And to rectify things, this week, me and my friend, we finished a bushcraft-looking knife. So I made a bushcraft knife. I can't even say it.
Can we see
I saw the picture. It looked pretty nice. I can bring it up. I can work that out.
Corin will bring it up. He's got the share screen ability.
Well, you do too, you bloody lazy prick.
It's my 3rd full-tank knife ever.
There you go.
It's nice. It's nice. You can see that your chef influence comes into your bushcraft knives.
It won't be long.
We'll get Corin to come up and we'll see the version. It's a really nice knife. Like, for something that you put together with your friend off the cuff, it's a really nice looking knife. Here we go.
No, it's not on my Instagram.
Well, then I can't show anybody. I just wasted everybody's time.
We've got to see the Instagram.
Our WhatsApp pictures.
I can't do it off WhatsApp.
All right.
Sorry,
Nah,
that's-
because he
Paul,
can't do
I
it
have
off
a question.
WhatsApp because our other conversations are on there.
Anyway,
I have a
look.
question for Paul. Paul, how did you come to Australia? Did you get in trouble in the UK and they shipped you over here? What
Yeah, that's how everybody got here.
How do you know?
That's how
Look
everybody
how old
got
he
here.
is. Look how old he is, Mert. He's a 10-pound bomb.
But when you say
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you've been in the you've been with the company for 30 years, man, that's a long time to be in the same company for 30 years now. So
It is a long time. I didn't work for Klingspor in the UK. I worked for a Klingspor distributor, like a Gamaco, but not specialised in knives. But so I've been involved for that long. But I've been working for them here in Australia for 19 years.
wow, that's
Yeah,
good.
And when I
That's a
started, it
long
was
time.
there was one little guy in a tiny little warehouse in Camperdown, which is in the inner west of Sydney. There's just me and him. And now there's 30 people in the company, and we're manufacturing, and we're growing all the time.
So Paul, I will say most of the knife maker, we are useless in terms of like the associating the company and the product. When you say Klingspor, I know what Klingspor does, but for the people who cannot read the label, can you tell to the other knife makers what kind of abrasive belts or any other abrasive products Klingspor is using? Like, for example, you guys have J-Flex. And what other
They've got
belts you guys have?
They've got a whole presentation. I think
we got a whole prezzo. So settle in, make yourself comfortable. Grab another beer, and no, that's right. No, that's the thing.
Tell us about your day real quick, Kev, and then the guys from Klingspor, and then we'll get kicked off with this. With the show.
Since the last podcast that we had, I have been active in the workshop and I've been getting stuff done. Yesterday in particular, I was actually meant to be making some sheaths, and I went up to my workshop for whatever it was, and 5 hours later, my neighbour was poking the head over the fence, asking if it was time that I could turn the power hammer off.
5 hours.
I got a little bit excited, and I'm in a suburban environment. I've got a workshop in my backyard.
Yeah.
Big blocks and stuff, but it's pretty good, you know. So it was around 5 hours of I just turned the forge on for whatever it was and found some Damascus bits in the bucket, and I was like, oh, I should use that. And next thing you know, it was 3 hunting knives and a chef knife and a big cleaver that was forged out. And one of those knives was actually needed for an order, and the rest of them was what I call distraction.
Yeah. Well, while I'm here,
it's like I'm up here to get something for the leather work. Oh, look at those bright lights! I'm going to make 5 knives. So no, I've been pretty busy in the workshop. Then today, when I should have been working on the cleaver, which is the next order out, and hopefully my customer's not listening, I got distracted with doing some grinding on a Damascus little chef utility. These things happen, but it's good fun. I had time out of my workshop, guys, recently with a bit of a back injury, and it's all good now. And I'm like that excited kid in the lolly shop that's just found the red lollies and the blue lollies, and the focus is just not there. So too excited about being in the right spot. That was my last weekend, and today was funny because I was up in the workshop doing some hand sanding, and some thunder and stuff was rolling in because I think everywhere on the East Coast is having some pretty ordinary weather. Yeah, and the thunder was getting louder and louder, and then all of a sudden I could actually see the lightning flashes in the workshop, and I was like, well, might be time to go down to the house. And I walked outside, and there was these disgusting green ball sack looking clouds that usually mean hail. And Canberra recently, earlier this year, we had the worst hailstorm. So my wife was at work, and I thought, shit, I'm going to put the car away. And it's the first time I've parked my car in the garage since I got it. And it's really long. And I just had a tow ball fitted. So I got out of the car and I'm like, no, that door's not going to close. So then I moved it forward a bit, and all the sensors are beeping at me. And yeah, it was kind of funny. Anyway, I got it in there, got the door closed.
You saved the car. That's good.
Well, there was no hail in the end. Premature, you know.
It's always the way.
Well, yeah, I had a good day today. I just unpacked these 2 pallets with Timmy and wrote a new song, the "Don't Fuck It Up" Timmy song, which is a good song. And that was my day in a nutshell. Boys, how are you guys going? Is there anything interesting and knife related in your lives that's happened in the last week? That's what's happening in your warehouse.
Knife related. We're just busy trying to keep up with all the bloody orders for these belts, mate. To be honest, yeah, it's been quite hard. We're flat out busy. We're having a great year, and this will be our best year ever.
And that's because of Corin, right?
Because of Corin, yeah. We're going to change the name
because
to
of COVID, not you.
Oh,
yeah. Same thing. Yeah, so we're just frantically trying to keep up. To be honest, yeah, it's good. It's all good.
No, it's a good problem to have.
It's all good news at the moment.
Frank, did you want to add anything? And we'll get right into it.
No, I think we should probably get started.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Get this party started.
Here we go.
All right, so we're just gonna run you through some slides now, just a little bit on who we are and what we do, and we'll go in the second half of the presentation. We'll go into more kind of detail about belt material and making belts and how we make them and how they start off and that sort of thing, and just to give you a better understanding of who Klingspor is. But for those of you who are listening, by all means, please ask questions as we go along, and I'm happy to stop the presentation and answer your questions if I can, and then we'll continue on our merry way. So, in saying that, there we go. Okay. So this is just a quick slide just to tell you where we fit in the world. So this is what we call Klingspor in numbers. So we rank number 5 in the top 5 in the world of manufacturers of abrasives. The company was founded in 1893, and it's a family-owned business. More than 460 qualified technicians and sales rep offer professional on-site assistance. So, salespeople all over the world looking after their customers. Roughly 285 million euros in sales per year. Over 50,000 product lines included in our portfolio. About 2,700 employees worldwide. And just to give you an idea of numbers of what we produce, every day we're looking at 110,000 abrasive flat discs, 350,000 cutting off wheels and grinding discs, and 100,000 square meters of coated abrasives. So quite a bit going on there. I can't see you guys anymore. Is that meant to be?
Yeah. I just made this, made the screen bigger so that people could see those numbers.
Okay. All right. As long as it's all under control.
You do have.
You're not alone, mate.
We're all here with you. We're all here with you.
There are a couple of questions, and one of them is this one here. Do you make? We'll come to when we talk about the 1mm cutoff discs. We can bring this one up again. So anyway, sorry, we'll keep going.
Okay.
We'll talk about this one, but you guys do the 1mm cutoff disc. You do it in other things as well. We'll talk about that, I suppose, at some point. Go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So the company started off as a local glue manufacturer, and then somebody decided that they would add some abrasive grain to this glue manufacturing business, and it became the big abrasive business that it is today. So founded in 1893, family-owned business. 1926, Klingspor produces the first waterproof abrasive paper in Europe. A quick story about the wet and dry abrasive paper. Henry Ford happened to be at a trade show in Europe, and went to see the Klingspor people and said, I've got this abrasive paper that I buy from 3M.
Don't mention the competition.
I'm just curious to know whether you guys can make it. And we started to make abrasive paper in wet and dry back in 1926 in Europe. 1950, the high-speed cutting off wheel was invented. This is a Klingspor invention. 1971, the introduction of the groundbreaking abrasive flat disc. So again, that's a Klingspor invention. So if you were to Google it, but Google mop disc, not flat disc, you'll see that Klingspor comes up as the inventor of that product. 1978, there's the expansion into the Americas. 1996, first international production facilities founded in Poland. We've got 2 facilities in Poland running almost 24 hours now. 2000 expands into Australia and South Africa. So before 2000, it was more of an agency than an actual Klingspor office. So from 2000 onwards, it was an official Klingspor office and grown into the business that it is today. 2015, the new plan of Klingspor Diamond Tools opens its doors. So we've always done a diamond blade range in Klingspor, but once upon a time, it was manufactured for us. But then the decision was made to build a purpose-built factory in the Ukraine, pumping out nothing but diamond product, and it's gone very, very well since its inception.
Incidentally, Corin won't like me saying it, but the core of diamond blades is really good for knife making because it's very high quality steel. If you buy a good diamond blade, Klingspor diamond blade, obviously. And you can cut out. They're big, 400 millimeters diameter. You can cut out your blanks from a.
You're talking
blade.
about like concrete saw blades.
Yeah.
Yes.
I made my first knives were all made out of concrete saw blades, and it was great.
Yeah.
But then I got a different blade, and it was crap, and it wouldn't harden, and it kept warping.
Yeah, it wasn't.
And so the first one must have been Klingspor.
That's what must have been. Sorry, interrupting.
Do you have any of those sitting around your warehouse for when Mert and I come to do our tour?
For special friends,
some blank ones.
Special friends, absolutely, yeah.
Sweet.
So this just gives you a brief idea of the different types of products that Klingspor does. So obviously the first image is of the belts, but we do sandpaper rolls, cutting wheels and grinding wheels, of course. What we call quick change discs, which are known as lockets and that sort of thing in the industry. Fiber discs, abrasive flap discs, the diamond tools that we were just talking about. We also do carbide burrs, abrasive sheets with Velcro backing and that sort of stuff. Abrasive flap wheels, which I'm sure some of you guys have seen for knife sharpening and knife finishing. And then there's the flexible abrasive range as well.
Yeah.
Another quick slide of Klingspor in numbers. So daily output is 135,000 square meters of coated abrasives, which would be equivalent to about 14 football fields. 110,000 flap discs, 240,000 fiber discs, 980,000 sheets and strips, 330,000 cutting and grinding discs, 2,400 wide and segmented belts, and 70,000 short and long belts. So these are done in a combination of Haiger in Germany and Cozy in Poland.
I'll tell you what, Frank, when you use stats like that, full-time makers like myself that might use 4 1 mil cutting discs in a day, we're starting to feel really, really inferior.
Inadequate.
It's like, shit, is that it? I'm
I
like,
get it.
there's like there's 329,996 discs produced that I didn't use.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah, wow, they're pretty phenomenal numbers. Like, that for someone like me, that's a real eye opener. Like, that's some serious stats going on there. Like, wow.
Absolutely.
Those
And
1 millimeter wheels. Sorry, just to say, those 1 millimeter wheels, we're just about to sell our 25th millionth wheel in Australia.
Is that like a Willy Wonka golden disc that we get?
Yeah, we're thinking about doing something like that.
How good would that be?
Yeah. And if you go to my boss's office in Germany, Dr. Neu, he's got a Perspex thing with a disc in it, and it's the billionth 1 millimeter wheel produced in our plant in Poland. Yeah, it's mad.
Yeah.
Big numbers.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, wow.
It tricks me out that somebody counted them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a slow week.
Listen, Germany, mate, they're probably using SAP pipelines.
Sugar right, mate.
Yeah, look, until somebody puts the numbers down like this, you just have no idea. I mean, even what we do in Australia as part of the Klingspor company, until you start to see numbers like this, you've got no idea of the capacity and what goes on. But I mean, this is we do just to kind of sidebar for a minute. We do regular product training at our place at Silverwater, probably every 6 weeks or something like that. Well, before COVID, we were obviously doing it about every 6 weeks. And this is the kind of stuff that we go through. You know, a bit of a history of the company, things like this, numbers, so people understand the capacity. And then obviously we do a bit of hands-on training as well. You get to see the products, how they're made, and some hands-on training as well. So this is an aerial view of the factory in Haiger, Germany. So just to give you an idea of how big the factory is. So as you can see, I don't know if you can see my mouse as I move it. Yep. So you can see this large building with Klingspor on the back. That's kind of the back of the property, and then it's all right up until to the street here. Here on this big patch of green grass, we've got a huge logistics centre now. So this photo is a bit old, but it's quite a big plant. This is the office block here. This is where Paul's boss sits. So yes, so it gives you an idea. Just to give you an idea of the capacity, see this tiny little building in the corner here with the 2 glass roller doors? That's our own little fire station. So that gives you an idea of the size of the plant and the buildings. We've got our own little fire station on site where if anything should go wrong, they can sort it out. Quality and reliability are key. So this just gives you an idea of the safety behind our product. Key criteria in our daily work: environmentally friendly production, highest production performance, maximum user protection. Founding member of what we call OSA, the Organisation of the Safety of Abrasives. Member of the Federation of European Producers of Abrasives. Member of Verband Deutsche, which is another European organisation. Which is the Association of German Abrasive Manufacturers. So you'll find that on all of our products, especially cutting and grinding, you'll see it mostly. There's the OSA stamp on it here, which is the Organisation of the Safety of Abrasives. So what that means is and we're also a founding member. But it's an independent organisation that can come and shut you down, being a abrasive manufacturer. So, you know, if you're not following the rules, you don't have accountability or traceability of your products or batches or that sort of thing where you can trace your product, then the OSA stamp is not something that you can put on your product. So it's also what we call a product liability insurance. So, for example, if a customer of ours like Gamaco sold one of our products and something went wrong, it's not Gamaco's problem, it's our problem. We'll actually come and investigate the issue, and we'll take care of everything. Where with other manufacturers who don't have this kind of assurances, it falls on the customer. You know, a situation like that could close a business down. So it's very important that this type of safety is part of our company.
Yeah, it definitely gives a bit of assurance to us end users that you've got that sort of level of quality and standards, and having to be a part of those organisations. You're not just at that end of the line where it's the quickest belt to get out there or the cheapest belt to get out there. And like I said, I think there's probably a reasonable volume of people that have had experienced what we call belt slap, where a fast-moving belt snaps and slaps you in the face.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, why that occurs, sometimes I've got to admit it is the fault of us knife makers. Other times, like I said, it can be a manufacturing thing. So, yeah, that's cool. That's good.
We had a complaint on a belt just yesterday, funnily enough, and the dealer he's in the automotive industry. He's not a knife making guy or anything like that, but he bought this belt back, and the batch number on the back the belt was from 2011. He'd had it for 9 years. And he complained because the joint failed. So
knife makers would be lucky to get about 3 weeks in.
Yeah. The glues that we use, obviously, like any glue, you know, if you buy a pair of shoes and put them in a cupboard for 10 years and then put them on, they're probably going to fall apart because the glues dry out over time. So yeah, you've got to be careful. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
it's important.
Yeah, mainly.
Go on.
Very rarely, I've been selling knife making belts for a very long time, as most people know. That very rarely does that glue joint ever fail. We typically see two things. One, the abrasive itself rips, and that happens on J-Flex belts. Or two, the tape gets so hot that it melts on a plating. And so I've seen that a couple of times as well. But that's, again, the glue joint doesn't fail. The tape actually melts and gets all munted up, and it doesn't work.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so this slide just gives you an idea of the different locations around the world that Klingspor either has an office or a manufacturing facility. So I won't dwell on that, but as you can see, it's quite sparse.
Yeah, I think it's 38 countries now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Is that just through? Well, probably looking at a different business line of questioning, but that's just the way my brain works every now and then. Is that just through like the logistics of gaining entry into those new businesses, or is it a sensible thing of not stretching yourselves too thin? Probably for the upper level bosses.
Yeah, we like to do our own thing in countries. We don't really operate through agents, if you like. So
yeah, cool.
We like to have Klingspor people in the country. So, for example, Klingspor in Australia, there's no other financial interest. We're wholly owned by Germany, and they're German. Yeah. That's the way they like it, you know. So it means that they can benchmark everything. They can make sure that everybody's performing exactly the same way. We are on SAP. You're right.
My former life used to be a SAP administrator, and config person. So yeah, straight away I was like, you guys got to be on for that sort of production level. You got to be on SAP.
That's right. Yeah. Well, Klingspor was one of the first people to sign up to SAP when it first evolved. So yeah. So
SAP stands for send all profits. Anyway, never mind.
Systems, applications, and products in database design, mate. Come on, I've been out of there for 5 years, and I know that. Get on it.
Yeah.
I didn't think we even knew that.
I think
impress your boss. Impress your boss.
Yeah, we knew that.
Yeah,
it's just important to them that the product is represented properly around the world. So they when, for example, we test our belts. We test every batch of belts we make every day. We test in-house on a machine that was on 2 machines that were designed and built by our engineers in Germany. And we upload all of that information, that data, every single day. And so if the guys in South Africa, for example, are having problems with their joins, they can benchmark all of us. It's not guesswork. They can see exactly what the parameters are. And if you fall outside of that, they're onto you straight away. Have you got a problem with moisture? Have you got a problem with your press? Have you got a problem with whatever? And they're all over it. Yeah, they're well organized.
Quality product.
Do you guys have a system that will replicate the knife maker who doesn't read the instruction?
Yeah. No.
Like that seems to be the issue. Like,
the product's good, but it's not idiot proof.
We can lend you Timmy Ford every now and then if you like.
Hey, Timmy's all good. He's been to Klingspor. He's done the training.
Oh, I bet he has. I bet his eyes nearly popped out of his head when he walked through the doors. He's probably got delusions of grandeur.
You leave my Timmy alone.
Awesome. Timmy's good value for picking on. We love Timmy.
All right.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's keep... Oh, sorry, I've interrupted you about that. Let's keep moving
no, not at all. Not at all. So now we're going to move into the coded side of the business. So as far as the belt manufacturing side of the business is concerned. So this just gives you an idea of the manufacturing process. What you see in this image is what we call the maker. The maker is a machine in the factory which makes what we call our jumbo rolls of coated material. So we get our jumbo rolls delivered to us from Germany, and they're roughly about 1350 wide. And what we do is we slit and convert those jumbo rolls into belts. So we cut them down to smaller size. We usually cut them down to a roll of about 300 mil wide. And then from there, we, because they're easier to handle like that, and then we start making belts out of those, what we call converter rolls. So what you see in this image, so the actual roll of backing material starts off at this end. It goes through a series of rollers. It goes through a printing process, a base coat process. Then it goes through gravity coating where the grain is added. It goes through another electrostatic process, another series of rollers, which is a pre-dryer, a top-size coat area, then a main dryer, and then when it winds on the other end here, it's the finished product. So what
you don't see here, sorry, interrupting, and you probably were going to say it anyway, Frank, but yeah, it's quite a naive drawing, that, and it's very hard to kind of understand the scale of it. But from the left-hand side to the right-hand side, inside the machine at any one time, is probably about 15 kilometers in length of material.
Wow.
So when we talk about that dryer, the pre-dryer and the main dryer, they're 120 meters long and 15 meters high.
Yes. The drawing is so simple, I thought I could make it at home.
I know. You thought, yeah, you were thinking, I could make one of those.
I just did a screenshot. No, I was going to do the same thing.
Are you going to talk more? Are you going to talk more about the electrostatic process? What's
Yes,
that?
I am.
We are.
Yes, you
Yeah,
are.
'cause
Keep
it's
going.
Wow.
Great.
It's very important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
So just to give you a scale, that pre-dryer, main dryer area would probably be the height of a 2-story building or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
If not
it
more.
doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. The image doesn't do it justice at all. But
You
Yeah.
need to put a picture of a little person in there.
yeah,
Besides-
maybe.
Maybe
problem
a
is-
little person. Put a little
Yeah,
person standing next to an elephant.
Yeah.
See that spec? See that spec just there, Kev? That spec's a pencil to scale.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Would
cool.
like to see a
That makes
Oompa
more-
Loompa in the factory, right, Kev?
Yeah. The problem is too, it's not one long consistent machine. The material disappears down under the ground and then reappears somewhere else, and it's fast on this bit and it's slow on this. It's incredible. It's quite amazing.
You've just gained the interest of one of our listeners, Jamie Bishop, who we refer to as the Sausage Man. As soon as you said,
Right.
as soon as you said that thing went underground, his ears pricked up because Jamie, we love Jamie, we love Sausage Man. Jamie looks like one of the dwarves out of the Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So when you
Yeah.
said it's gone underground, I bet you Jamie's eyes just glazed over. He's like picturing that sandpaper coming down and hitting it with an axe and throwing gold dust on it or something.
Yeah. What's that line? Toss me to the elves. Something like that.
Come on, it's not
So-
about changing.
So this maker, we have 4 of these makers, 2 in Germany and 2 in Poland. The makers in Germany make 1.65 meter wide rolls, and just from a handling point of view, 1 meter in diameter the rolls are when they come off the machine. There's Jamie. Look, yeah, no, absolutely. I see the likeness. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. So another little perspective here, guys. 1.65 meters wide.
Yeah.
Corin makes what we refer to as barrel knives.
Yeah.
They have an 85 millimeter wide blade.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the lifespan of Corin using a 1.65 meter wide blade?
I get a year out of a standard 2x72, Kev.
And
Anyway,
that's the
never
thing,
mind.
I mean,
He's your best sales rep. He's saying, I get a year's life out of every single belt.
yeah, sure.
One 85 by 10 mil wide blade every year.
Yeah. We do make belts up to, I think, 1.6 meters wide for people in Australia, because the guys who are sanding doors and panels and stuff, they've got these machines that are that wide. Yeah. Yeah. So we can do that. We do that in Sydney.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So,
So we'll go through the stages of this production line, if you like.
Let's do it.
So it goes through the printing process. So obviously this is what ends up on the back of the backing material. So obviously you've got a logo, you've got the actual
Canberra, ACT.
Yeah, ACT, that's right.
Yeah. I'll be
You've got the
your
actual-
spokesperson in the ACT.
special for Canberra.
So you've got the actual the actual material, which is the PS29 material. It's a paper backing material. The P100 represents the grit. The ACT is an advanced coating technology, obviously made in Germany. You'll see this number to the left here, which is batch number. And then you'll see that the backing material has the arrows on it, which makes it directional. Now, just on that, back in the day, a lot of belts that were made had these arrows on the back because the way you put them on the machine, they had to follow those arrows. So those belts were directional. And what makes them
overlap.
Yeah. So what makes them directional is the actual join. So the joins back in the day were predominantly a lap join. So it's one piece of material sitting on top of another piece of material, and it's pressed. So if you put that belt on a machine the wrong way round, then as it would spin around the contact wheel, you would get a step. So that's why the arrows were put on the back of the material to make it directional, so you avoided that. Where these days, we still do a butt joint, but most of our belts predominantly are what we call a butt joint, which goes together like that, and it's got the tape on the back. So whether the material has arrows on the back of it or not, when a belt has a butt joint, it's not directional. You can actually take it off the machine and turn it the other way around and run it as normal.
It's a good way to get extra life out of your belts, because when you
Yeah.
use the belt, the grains are kind of rounding off in a certain direction. If you turn the belt around, then you've got sharp grain coming back the other way. So you can use it both ways. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Moving right along. Okay, so this is what we call the electrostatic process.
Here we go.
So
this is the part.
what-
This is the part that had that little wiggly line, and it was top secret. But you guys are letting us in on this.
Here we go.
This is what makes the difference.
Pepper.
Yeah.
This is important because not every manufacturer does this, because it's very expensive. It's Frank will tell you about it, but it costs a lot of money to do this, but it's worthwhile.
Yeah. So basically what this is, once we get to the electrostatic process of the manufacturing of the jumbo rolls, what happens is this top section here is the actual backing material. So it comes down around the rollers and back up again. Here you've got a hopper which has the actual grain in it, and this is just a conveyor belt that runs it under the backing material. So once the grain comes out of the hopper and goes onto the conveyor belt, it moves across the conveyor belt under the backing material. And as you can see here at the bottom here, you've got a positive charge and you've got a negative charge. So as the grain passes through there, you get your electrostatic process right in here. So what this process does, and I'll show you on the next slide, is that it's
important to say, I think it's 50,000 volts going through there.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah. So as that charge goes, as the grain comes through and the charge hits it, what it does is that as the grain comes through, it actually turns the sharp end forward of the grain. So what that means is that the sharp end is forward on the material, and the dull end of the material is what adheres to the backing.
Kind of like waving a magnet underneath iron.
Exactly that. Exactly that.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah. So this is, as Paul said, it's an important process, but it's also a very expensive process. So there are a lot of manufacturers that actually skip this part, and when the grain hits the backing material, it falls however it falls, the dull end forward, whether it sits sideways, and that obviously affects the performance of the grain once the belt is finished.
It's an interesting thing to do. If you next time you've got your Reaper belt, have a feel of it, and have a feel of somebody else's belt, and you'll feel that the Reaper belt feels really sharp. You can feel it on your thumb.
Talking about having a feel of it, this slide takes me back to my youth, guys, a little bit, because I'm pretty sure at one stage I dated a pair of twins, and they were named Kath and Anne Ode.
Really? Were they hot?
Wow.
Electrifying.
Yeah. I'm here till Thursday. Oh, hang on, it's Thursday.
Try the veal.
Good work.
All right, I'm going to mute my mic now.
Me too.
All right.
Okay, so this next slide just gives you an idea of the structure of the belt. So basically, down here you've got a backing. You've got a backing. What's that?
That looks like Lord of the Rings shit.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
So this is the backing.
Through an electron microscope, a cross section of a belt.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
So backing material, a base coat, then the grain sits on the base coat, and then there's another coating that goes over the top to hold the grain in place. Okay, and as you'll see from that image, that all the sharp ends of the grain have been put forward.
It's interesting because sorry, just going back, they look a bit irregular, but if you think about it, if you this would have been cut with a laser cut through grains. Some of them, the smaller ones you'll see are the edge of the grain, and the bigger ones are like the middle of the grain. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's why they look irregular like that. But you can see, it just gives you an idea of the structure.
Yeah, no, got it. Keep going.
These are different types of backing. So you've got paper backing, which are we do a lot of paper belts. They're predominantly what we call wide belts, which go on wide belt sanders, and they're predominantly for door manufacturers or kitchen cabinet manufacturers, where they lay the door panels of a kitchen, for example, on a bed, and it goes through the wide belt sander, and they all get sanded evenly and all at the same time. So we make a lot of wide belts out of paper. We also make them out of cloth, but the paper belts are obviously the cheaper alternative. The cloth belts paper belts are, once they're worn out, it's time to change them over. But with a cloth belt, you can actually wash them and reuse them. You've got cotton material, which is, for example, like our 310X material, which is the aluminium oxide belts that Gameco would sell. They're a rigid-backed material, so they like a lot of pressure. Very good for stock removal more than anything else. Polycotton, which is, for example, the J-Flex belts, again, something that Gameco would sell. This is more the finishing end of the scale. So finishing blades or polishing them is where a J-Flex belt would come in, because the material is very, very flexible, and that's the difference. Things like what we call the CS310X, which is the aluminium oxide, or the 416Y, which is our zirconia material, again, are both very heavy, very rigid backing. They like a lot of pressure, and they're all about stock removal. And then you've got the last material, which is what we call a fiber disc backing. I don't know if in the knife industry you use a lot of fiber discs, but no, they also come in ceramic. Go on, Corin.
Yeah, we go through the polyester back belts are pretty much the staple with the J-Flex, right. And the cotton's coming in for the aluminium oxide stuff. So yeah, they're the three that we use, the mid-range stuff. That fiber, that's really stiff back. That's the stuff you'd put on the back of a flat disc or something, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it goes on a backing pad, and it's a flat disc. It's really good for grinding flat surface areas. So, and it covers a lot of ground. But yeah, it's a very, very rigid flat.
You're not gonna run it around a 2-inch wheel or something.
No, God no.
No. Yeah. Good. We don't use.
There goes my desire to do bloody 1/4-inch wheel grinds. Oh well. Anyway.
Keep going.
This is a slide on different grains and their wear behavior. So this first one is a silicon carbide grain. So, and you guys would use silicon carbide in knife making, obviously.
Actually, Frank, we tend to avoid silicon carbide.
Oh, do you?
In knife making. That's silicon carbide we use in the glass industry a fair bit. But in knife making, it tends to cause a lot of problems, particularly with some of the carbide guides and things that people use, because it will actually abrade tungsten carbide. So Yeah.
it's very sharp.
Yeah.
It's almost as sharp. It's almost as hard as diamond, but it fractures when you use it. So you can see there on that diagram, bits chip off it.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
The life isn't very good.
Yeah,
No.
for us, it doesn't work anywhere near as good as ceramic.
No. Good for glass. You're right.
That wear behavior diagram looks a little bit like our listeners on the left and Corin Merton and I on the right, and our listeners are just doing nothing, and we're acting like clowns, breaking apart, trying our best.
Fair
Trying to relate it.
Yeah, I was
Just
gonna
keep
say,
going, Frank. Just keep going. We can
trying to
drag
relate
this
this
on
more to the
all night. Just
podcast.
keep going.
Yes. Well, yeah, they do use it in the glass industry because the silicon carbide goes to very, very fine grits. So it works well for that type of industry. But it's very, very, very sharp grain, but has a short life because it's so sharp.
Yeah.
Moving along. This is our aluminium oxide grain. So this is like your 310X belts or the maroon coloured aluminium oxide belts.
I think LS312 as well, gamma carbide, don't they? The yellow ones.
Yeah, that's the yellow ones.
Yeah,
the yellow
that's
and
aluminium oxide. Yeah.
Yes, same
Well,
type of grain. As you can see.
Try.
Oh, you've not used those before?
No, they're still sitting up on my belt rack. 60
Okay.
quid, I think it is.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really good material, very flexible as well. So,
Yeah, right. Cool.
You'll enjoy that. But the wear behavior of the aluminium oxide grain, as you can see, it starts off quite sharp, but as it progresses, it starts to become quite dull. As it becomes quite dull, you have to give it more pressure for it to work properly. As I say, the aluminium oxide grain, it likes pressure. It's good for stock removal. So the more pressure you give it, the better it works.
Yeah, but hardened steel destroys it. You've got to watch that. Hardened steel
Yes, it
blade
does.
just absolutely destroys it. Total waste of money.
Yeah, it will, because it sort of rounds over when you use it, and in the end, it's just dragging. It's not really cutting; it's just dragging.
But for working on handles for timber work, exceptional.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah, really good.
Brilliant. Yeah. It's exactly what you want for timber. Yeah. This is our zirconia grain. This is a really, really good grain. Again, it likes a lot of pressure, but it's extremely sharp. The difference is, as I say, the silicon carbide is very sharp but has a short life, where zirconia is very sharp but has a long life. So that's why it likes the pressure and the stock removal as well. So as you can see.
Somebody asked before about belts for handles. Do we do a belt for handles? The belts to use for handles, guys, typically are aluminium oxide and zirconia. They're your two best belts for handle materials.
Yeah.
Softer materials.
Zirconia are my favourite.
Yeah. Unless you want the flexibility, because you can get the yellow belts are super flexible. So if you want to do handles where you've got finger indentation,
belts.
you want scallop belt, exactly. Yeah. Then if you want that flexibility, then you go with the aluminium oxide. Yeah.
But yeah, zirconia or aluminium oxide, great for handles. Sorry to interrupt you, Frank. Keep going.
No, you're right. Yeah. You're right.
You keep using a term called stock removal, which in knife making refers to grinding typically hardened steel. And
yes.
And so I've just got to pull up on that because you wouldn't use either of these belts for hardened steel. That's all I'm trying to say. So in knife making, that term is Keep going.
It's all relative.
Yep.
Okay. So moving along, then we have the ceramic grain, which I'm sure you're very familiar with.
This is the Reaper.
Love it. Yeah, we love it.
The material Reaper grain. So as you can see, the actual structure of the grain is completely different to an aluminium oxide or a zirconia or a silicon carbide. You can see that the fragments are quite small. The grain starts extremely sharp, and as it starts to wear, it fractures, which brings out even more kind of sharp edges. and which means that this particular grain is sharp all the way to the end.
That's sharper than I was in the 1980s. Look at that.
Yeah, that's saying something.
So
I'm glad someone else is joining the dad jokes.
Koichi Forging Steel says, how do you get the best out of these belts? Do you go hard and fast or slow and light?
With the ceramic, hard and fast.
Yeah,
They love it.
Yeah, man.
They love it. With
Yeah.
everything else, not so much. Yeah.
I
But I think you guys know,
I was putting a few knives under some extreme pressure today.
Yeah.
With one of your, I think it was a 60 grit belt that I was using.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, I was looking at this belt thinking this is probably due for the bin or for profiling.
Yeah.
And I had a couple of knives that I needed to get out. I just had to get them done. I was like, you know what?
Just
hard
keep
and fast.
going.
Just get this. Yeah, dip it in the water. For us knife makers, do a solid pass, dip it in the water. Solid pass, dip it in the water. That thing was still cutting when I was.
Yeah.
I turned it off, thankfully, because I've learned my lesson in the past. I turned it off before I rubbed it with my thumb.
Yeah.
There's people who'll get that joke. Yeah. And it felt like it was. Seriously, it felt like it was dead, and I still pushed the boundary a little bit. And I've got another couple of knives done out of it. So all credit to you.
It really takes a lot to wear out the ceramic grain.
And the ceramic grain, actually, the more pressure you put on, the better it performs. So you see these little particles there. To make them fly away, to expose new particles, you've got to put pressure on the belt.
You don't want it glazing up, guys. You don't. If you glaze it up, then to get them cutting again, you've got to break them down again.
Yeah.
And for the new makers, when they're talking about pressure, it's not talking to the belt and saying, "Come on, belt, I have to have this knife done by tomorrow to get it to a customer." It's like
you don't do that. You sure you don't do that?
Mentally, I'm saying that. Physically, I'm pushing the shit out of it.
I'm glad you clarified that.
Hayden McGee asked about belts for handle material. That's done. So keep going.
Yeah.
Yep.
Depends on the material.
Yeah, as you say, you looked at the belt and it looked a little worn. When it gets to that stage, don't forget that you can always take the belt off, spin it round the other way, and let it turn the other way, because that will help as well.
We use old diamond files or diamond wheel dressers, and you can smash a belt and you'll rip a heap of grain off and get it cutting again.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
they work too.
Or buy another one.
We do some interesting things as knife makers. We probably test the boundaries of what you guys would think would be, for want of another term, an acceptable sort of process. But we do get pretty creative in getting the most out of our belts.
Yeah.
Right.
So, guys, in terms of the belt life, I have a question. So, I'm one of the few knife makers that I use wet grinding. There's a constant water spray that I use during my grinding. Which belts you don't recommend with the wet grinding?
Yeah. So you'd have to explain what vet grinding is.
Wet.
Wet.
Grinding wet.
Wet
Water.
grinding.
They got a water spray. Got a water spray on the belt.
All of the polyester belts are fine to use wet. So the Reaper belts, our zirconia belts, CS416, any of those, they're waterproof. A lot of people still use the cotton belts wet. You're not supposed to, but you kind of can get away with it. But if it's a polyester backing, wet is no problem.
Mm-hmm. So, guys, this one's an interesting question because it says, why isn't there stiff back high grit belts? J-Flex is not my favourite belt.
When you say high grit, does he mean fine grit?
Yeah, he means fine grit.
Fine grit, yeah.
So,
there are. You can buy you can buy an X-weight belt in 400 grit, for example.
Like the CS310X.
310X.
The aluminium oxide goes up to 600 grit.
Yeah.
So you've got to, but this comes down to point loading, and this is something that people ask us all the time. Why don't you do a 600 grit ceramic? Why don't we do a 600 grit ceramic, guys?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Well, because ceramic grain is designed for high stock removal, to rip material off quickly. you know, in the finer grits, it's really not worthwhile. And also, you know, if you're it's a bit of a dilemma, if you like. You know, you get to something very fine, let's say 600 or something. Well, that's when you're doing your finishing, and you don't want to be finishing with ceramic grain. It's too sharp.
Yeah.
So all manufacturers are the same. They make the ceramic in coarse grits.
The coarse grits.
Anything up to say 80, 120, and then down the other end of the scale, aluminium oxide. It's also a cost thing too, because ceramic grain is a lot more expensive than aluminium oxide, and there's only so much to go around in the world. So
the way I like to explain it as well is that ceramic it relies on that heavy pressure and speed to break the grit down. And if if you step on a nail in a board, it's going to go right through your foot, but yet you can lie on a bed of nails because of the point load, right? And so
it's about newtons, isn't it, Corin? All to do with newtons.
Something like that. It's very technical, sciencey stuff. But the truth of the matter is, you can't get the same load on a fine grit belt to break the grits down, so they tend to glaze up as well, and they just don't work as well. So that's
exactly
why.
right. Yeah, but you can get a heavier backing in a finer grit.
Aluminium oxide belts that we sell, they're on our website for 600 grit. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So in saying that, Corin, and this is why I mentioned the silicon carbide belts, because the aluminium oxide goes up to 600, but if somebody wanted something finer than 600, then silicon carbide goes up to 800.
We can get them, guys. Bulk buy. Just let me know. Just tell me how many you want. We'll get them.
The other thing to remember with the ceramic belts is that you were talking about hardened materials before, and that's what ceramic belts are for. Keep in mind that the more heat sensitive the material is, the better it works.
So this guy asks about the bump in J-Flex belts.
The bump.
And it's a real thing.
Like you're saying, that's
because you don't use them.
The join.
Then it's not a good join.
No, it's not. It shouldn't have a bump. It should be a bunt join.
All J-Flex belts bump on a knife making grinder running over a platen. And the trick I was showing years ago by Mr. Bruce Barnett's, just get a diamond file and break the grain off above the joint, right? And so they're grinding against the hardened steel plate, and those guys just break the grain off above the joint so that they get a more even finish. So it's tricky.
You know, when you're making a very fine grit belt, you have to remove the cotton off the back of the belt, so that when you put the reinforcing tape and the glue on there, what you're trying to do is make a zero tolerance belt. But if you grind too far into the cotton, you make a weak spot on the belt. So it's a very fine line that we're trying to walk. You know, you've got to maintain a strong belt, but by not going too deep, but if you don't go deep enough, you get a step. So
the truth of the matter is, though, J-Flex belts are not really made for grinding against a steel platen. They're made for doing flexible grindings.
Absolutely, on a soft rubber contact wheel or something, foamy.
Or on the slack of the belt.
So switch to the CS310, which is going to give you a hard back, and it's not as big a problem at all. So that's really the best way to solve it.
And you guys just got some of those
I'm guilty of using J-Flex on a hardened steel, but I know if I'm using J-Flex on a hardened steel, I only have 2 minutes of grinding, proper good quality grinding. Then either way, my belt is going to get blunt, or the worst is my plate, my platen, my flat platen is going to load up with the residue, which is going to leave like a warm looking grind. But I know, like, if I'm trying to move up from 120 to 240 or 400, I know if I'm using a J-Flex, I got 1 or 2 minutes of good grinding that I can use J-Flex, and I can, if I'm careful, I can take my grind from 120 to 400 without any problems. It cuts perfect, but once it starts like it's not cutting, or my platen is loaded up with the gunk that it leaves, then I got problems. But in that first minute, if you can get it done, it's beautiful.
I think there's no substitute for experience, and you know, there's a lot of trial and error in what you guys do, and this is why people get really good at it when they've done it for 20, 30, 40 years or whatever. don't expect too much from the belt. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a piece of cotton. It's glued in the same way that you would glue anything else that you want to fix or whatever. If you lean on it and ride a grinder around the workshop, it's gonna upset you. So
that's what we do, though. But anyway,
I know. And then it's the belt's fault, right?
how do you stop them clogging with wood? I use an old thong. Just use it.
Old thong's good. That's a good one.
Yes.
Bit of PVC downpipe. That works well.
Yeah. A bit of wax.
Bit of wax.
Well.
Yeah.
Wax.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, it'll move.
Yeah, it sort of softens the cut of the grain as well. But yeah,
and it restores. It like once the abrasive grain or the belt builds up with the soft material that's been going through it, like wood. Usually a stick of wax while the belt is turning will remove all the build up between the grain. And restore the belt, and it'll start to work a lot better.
Yeah,
okay,
because that's all it is. You're just getting crap in between the grains. You just got to rip it out. That's all.
This guy asked, are diamond coated belts available?
Every now and again, somebody brings one out, and we all go, "Oh shit, diamond! That's a good idea." And they disappear.
Yeah.
So I've seen them come and go for 30 years. I don't know if it's because all the abrasives companies, as soon as a good one comes out, they buy the company out and sink it. Could be. I've seen they do exist. Yeah, but they never seem to be around for very long.
I read that question on the screen here before, and I was thinking, with the particular shot that's up at the moment, and for those listening to the podcast, it's about ceramic grain, and you guys already sort of said there's only a certain amount of ceramic grain available. I would imagine industrial diamond would be along that same sort of extent.
Yeah.
For people like knife makers that jump on board to Corin's group buys, where we get fantastic pricing through you guys, a diamond belt, I'm tapping out already. Like, sorry, I can't afford a diamond belt. Maybe I'll wear it around my neck as a bit of bling.
It'll cost you a lot of money, and then if it breaks or something, I'm
sure my wife would have punched me in the face if I'd tried to wrap a bit of Klingspor diamond grip belt around a finger and said, "Will you marry me?"
Stay on target, Kev. Stay on target.
Hey, come on.
Yeah, but not only that. I mean, even if the product was good, it is a very hard type of product to use, because if you don't get the speed of the machine exactly right, and you don't get the pressure exactly right, then it doesn't work.
Yeah, and we had that. We had someone was posting a question before about maybe they missed the part in the talk that you've done so far about the product testing. They were putting in the question about how do you do the testing? Is there a specific process, or is it based off user feedback? And going back to the German side of things, very efficient processes. Yeah. There's, to the answer to that question, the guy, there's machines that do the same sort of thing to test that.
So we have two machines. I'll try and explain them.
There's photos. I've got photos of them at the end.
Oh, have you? Okay.
Right.
We'll explain what they do. Yeah. Okay.
Just any thoughts on waste belts?
No.
Old belts. No thoughts on that.
No.
You can cut them up and use them as emery cloth or something
when we're finished with them. Nah.
Once they're gone, they're gone.
Weave them together and put them as a base on a seat, so that when you sit down, you don't slip forward in your chair. Maybe.
I'll tell you what we do. We have a lot of waste material in our factories, of course. Off-cut material from big rolls and whatever. They actually burn it and use it to heat the building. They do.
Really? I was gonna say, don't let the listeners know that there's offcuts and waste, because you're gonna have people protesting out the front of Klingspor.
I'm on my way. Don't worry, I'm there tomorrow.
Kev, you can use a diamond belt and make turn into a bracelet for your wife. Look, honey,
You
I
can
got
do
the
that.
diamond
You can
bracelet.
do
Oh,
that.
yeah, I don't need
Hey,
that,
Mert,
mate.
Mert, your audio is terrible, Mert. You got to work out what's going on. Very, very quiet. Keep going, guys.
How about
Yeah,
He
that?
looks good,
let's
though.
move on.
That's
He looks
better.
good.
Better.
Yeah, let's move on. Sorry.
Okay, as
That's
I said, we do training quite regularly. Obviously, before COVID, and we used to do it quite regularly. But I'm sure that will turn around eventually.
Yes.
So this just gives you an idea of what our place looks like and what our training center looks like. Obviously, that's the front of our building at Silverwater. Some images of the warehouse and the boardroom and the training center. So you're more than welcome to come and have a tour and see some of the products that we've got.
Yeah, for sure.
For
and Timmy
everyone-
can organise that. Get in
I
touch
was
with
going to
Timmy.
say, for
and he'll-
everyone, for everyone listening, that's just directed at the podcast presenters.
Right. Yes. Exactly right.
Absolutely. No, but we could think about an open day, couldn't we? Gamaco is like, you can almost walk from our place
Yeah.
to yours.
Well, you
Yeah.
can.
So if we had a joint open day, come to Gamaco, have a look around, put on a sausage sizzle, we could do that for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sausage man's in.
He's
in.
just perked up there.
So these are some images of our belt department, and those two top photos are the machines that Paul was describing about 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. So the one on the top left there, you can't see it very well, but this is designed and built by our own engineers in Germany. And every belt manufacturing facility we have around the world uses this machine. There you go, on the left there. And it's we take a belt join, we cut it, we cut a strip of material 10 millimeters wide. That's our standard, and we attach it to that machine, and it operates like a pendulum over a spindle. So it's trying to replicate a belt on a machine. So, and this is done under pressure as well.
On a contact wheel.
On a steel roller, actually. So it has to do 40,000 revolutions before it's passed. Basically, that machine will keep running for 40,000, and then we have a sheet that says, well, this material in this grit size, you should get X number of revolutions out of it. Tick, it's passed. We've put belts on there twice, and it's still done 80,000 revolutions, one join. Now, look, there's no pressure. There's no big hairy bloke jamming a piece of steel into it. Fair enough. But this gives us an idea of whether it's got the right, flexibility without breaking. The machine on the right, top right, is a tensile strength machine. And again, we take a strip of material that's just to the right there, and we put a certain amount of pressure on there. I think it's about 40 kilos of pressure before the thing gives way, and assuming it passes that test, then then that batch is good, and we send it out the door. But what we do also is all of these results we log with our parent company in Germany, and they analyze all of the results from every belt manufacturing plant around the world every day.
So you're basically going for the same quality all day, every day. So we don't have bad batches.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. And if we don't meet the standard that is set by Germany, then we scrap the batch, scrap the whole lot.
Yeah, right. Obviously,
that's never
building that day.
That's never happened.
No, so, guys, is there any questions? I guess, is that the end of the presentation for belts, Frank?
They're just more images.
It's just a few photos.
That's the factory.
Yeah, awesome.
So yeah, that's it.
So if anyone has any more belt questions, you can put them up now. That was fantastic, and a great presentation on belts. I mean, every knife maker uses belts, even if they're running the smallest machines around, they're still using belts. And so, yeah, really good to see to see that, Frank. That's excellent.
Pleasure.
This guy, Corey Cunningham, says you guys do Japanese grinding stones, big ones.
No. No, that's sorry, that's the easy answer, the quick answer.
Okay.
No, that's considered to be bonded abrasives, and we don't do stones. No.
Right.
We're
Okay.
we're basically coated people.
But guys, if you can find me a manufacturer and there's enough of you want them, I'll buy them. No problem. But
yeah, I can put you on to a couple of people that they're not in Japan, but yeah.
We'll have a chat after, Paul.
Yeah.
Beautiful work, mate.
Yep.
Beautiful work. So there we go. Basically, guys, we can make any size belt. I think that needs to be said as well. We stock 2x72s and we stock 2x48s in just about everything. They're both the same. We've got anything we've got in 2x48, we've got in 2x72. So there's no difference whichever grinder you've got. The 2x60s aren't as popular and we don't stock everything, but we can make them, no problem at all. And for those of you that have 2x2 meter or 4x2 meter or whatever, we can make anything you want. All right. There is a caveat to that, and that caveat is that just a second, guys. There's something just happened on my screen, and it must indicate to me that it is. Knife maker.
With a lot to learn. It's Timmy. He's a handful of trouble at every
Timmy,
turn.
what's going on?
Timmy leaves the
Gameco Artisan Supplies.
and goes up to the trying to be cool, he's number one. He joins all his friends
Knife Making Down Under podcast.
and he's always having such a lot of fun. Timmy, it's Timmy.
There he is.
I never get tired of that, Timmy.
I was going to say, I'm sure it's not just the alcohol. I love that little intro.
It's the best. Pizza resistance.
Pizza resistance, eh?
Timmy, a lot of people are going to be wondering what's happening with their bulk buy orders for Klingspor on account of we told them 14 weeks and it's been at least 7 or 8 or something. So
We
where are we at?
ran out of Gaylords.
Yes, no,
Gaylord. What was that?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
2 from Gameco on the screen now.
There's
I thought you
nothing
were gonna
worse
say
than running out of Gaylords.
Gaylords and butt joints. But anyway, keep going, Tim.
That's it.
So we got 2 giant pallets of belts in, and Cara and I checked them all in this afternoon. It's nice and hot and
You
sweaty.
did.
We love
I
touching the
felt
Gaylord.
very productive for the first time in a long time. I was like sweating. I had my suit on, and I'm like, nah, it's. But
Good
we're
fun.
so flat out at the moment. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, so we booked all of those in, and we should have pretty much every single belt that we need to dispatch bulk buy orders. We might be a little short stocked of the deposit belts still, but the next batch will be coming whenever these guys get their act together.
Put it back on them, Timmy. Just like I showed you, Timmy. Put it back on them.
No, you didn't.
Well,
No, you didn't.
thanks for our first and only group by now, Tim. We were going really well until you showed up.
Actual footage of Tim passing the butt.
That's
I gotta do what I gotta do. Yeah.
No. To be fair, we have to own that. I mean, we got smashed with orders from you guys. It's been huge success for you and for us, and we've struggled to keep up. Some of the belts we had to fly in from Germany, and then because you're fussy, we had to repack them into 10s because
Yes,
that's how
because
you
they came in bulk.
Yeah, they came in bulk.
Sorry, now you've got me intrigued. What are they coming in from Germany?
25s.
Depending on the size,
Yeah.
some come in 50s.
Yeah. 12s
So we
and
had to
25s.
repack.
Yeah. So
Man,
I think
we've
we
got
would have
to
got
lift our game here.
repacked in 12s, hopefully, because that's what we sold them in, I think.
yeah.
Hopefully
well,
So
well,
we've had to
yeah.
unpack them and repack them just for you because you're special.
We're so
But
Look, here's
yeah,
a little thing. Australia, lift your bloody game. Let's get to 25 packs. Come on.
yeah, I reckon, don't you?
Mhm.
Exactly.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But
There's just a comment come up here and it says, I bet you don't make something for as cheap as something. we don't do cheap belts, guys. We do great quality belts. I just
We
want to
do,
make
but-
that really clear, because
Yeah.
cheap belts in knife making are a total fucking waste of time.
We're-
That's
Yeah,
okay.
but I think what he's saying is for us cheapskates, he's talking little belts. We do make
Yeah.
that size. Yeah, we do.
Yes, we do.
I think the smallest we do is kind of 6 mil, 3 mil we can do. And I think the smallest in diameter or length is probably about 400 mil.
280.
Yeah,
Yeah,
three
about
something.
285 or something like that.
Yeah.
300.
And then
length.
up to, I think the longest belt we've made is was 13 meters.
Yeah, that's my
Long.
other grinder.
Yeah, that's my other grinder.
Tell him he's
Yeah.
dreaming.
Timmy, is there anything else? Is there anything else people need to know about Gamaco's supply of Klingspor belts that we should fill them in? Those ones that just came out, guys, they're not going out tomorrow. There is literally 2 pallets of belts that have to be sorted through, picked and sent. So
Yeah.
we would expect to have all of those out by about mid to late next week, Timmy.
Yeah,
So
they're
just expect that, guys. Please manage your expectations, because I have to get other orders out as well, and that's the deal with bulk buys. So yeah, keep going.
So I'll be out there tomorrow morning picking belt orders, but we'll be slowly getting them out as they came in. But yeah, it's just big orders. We didn't really expect the quantities. I don't think Klingspor did
No one
either.
did.
So
No.
credit to them for getting
Yeah.
the belts that we ordered to them,
Okay.
because it was crazy.
So, question on sandpaper: does Klingspor do sheets that may compete with every knife maker's favourite Rhino wet? Guys, this is something that Cole has been working with Frank and our rep Stacey.
Stacey. Yeah.
Stacey,
Yeah.
and Cole's been working on, and maybe we'll have some good news in the future. We're certainly trying hard to find a product that'll outperform Rhino Wet, but it's a tough call. It's a popular product, and we hope that we can hopefully come up with something one day. So that'd be good.
Yeah.
If we do a bulk buy, we could probably get it custom made to our specification. If we do a big enough bulk buy.
For sure. I
I'm
think
keen.
I don't know whether we've actually analysed that and sent it to our lab in Germany and asked them to look at it, because I don't know what's so special about it. It's but all
bloody
knife
great.
makers love it. Yeah.
Mm.
So
It's bloody great.
let's do it. Let's send it over.
Yeah.
I'm not
Bloody
scared.
good. Let's get
We've
on it.
got some
Timmy's-
stuff in development, and as soon as we get some samples, we will test it. But
Yeah.
there's things happening.
Reaper
Good.
wet, they're calling it. Look at that. Reaper wet. I'm
Reaper
hearing
wet.
you guys.
Reaper.
Reaper
Yeah, I
wet.
like that. Good work, Owen. Good work.
All right,
Oh,
guys.
dear.
So that's good. I had a question earlier from Sausage Man asked about cutting discs, and he talked about your 1 mil cutting disc, which we sell, right?
Yep.
Guys, I'm going to blow in before you do, because I use this product. My son's in stainless steel fabrication. I've been using this product for a while, and I said, you've got to have a go at this. He uses a different brand, and he's like, these are at least twice as good. At least twice
Easily.
as good. He said they're not twice the price, and I don't have to stop and change every 5 minutes. Like, I can get it longer out of the wheel. Yeah, Cole's promised you a $300,000 order if you can outperform Rhino Wet. So there you go. I'm not sure I'm
Right.
backing that just yet.
I don't
Is
think we
that,
can.
is that the first run or what? Is that the deposits? Because I'll tell you what, if you can beat Rhino Wet,
So A60TZ, these discs are phenomenal. These are like the secret weapon
They are.
of cutoff discs. Tell us about these guys.
Well, we've been making 1 mil wheels for a long time, but we improve them all the time, and they didn't used to be very good. Ours weren't very good, I'll be honest. I ranked us probably at number 10, but I rank us firmly at number 1 now. They've improved so much. All the internal testing we do is amazing, and the feedback we get is incredible. You always get that perception from people that I've used this brand or that brand for years and it's the best and blah, blah. But if you can actually put the disc in their hands and get them to try it, I put our disc up against anybody's on the planet.
Yeah.
So this is a phenomenal product. Now, Timmy,
well, Paul,
the people
Paul,
watching this,
backing what you just-
give them a
Shut
10%
up, Goran.
discount. Give them no, it's Timmy time. Give them what's their
Oh,
discount
God.
code to buy
Get rid of
these?
him.
What's their discount code for those watching tonight?
Bloody hell, I have to make it now. We'll just make it
Bloody
a.
hell.
Timmy,
bloody
make
hell.
it.
Fucking players.
Oh gosh darn.
Bloody
It's
hell, it's already done.
It's the
Bloody hell.
A60, yeah?
Yeah, 860. What's it gonna be?
A60TZ. If you put that in, you'll get a 10% discount.
Let's put bloody hell. Everyone will remember that. No one's going to remember A60.
Or
Oh,
either,
it's
whatever.
True.
It's bloody hell.
Bloody hell, that's what it's going to be. I'm the boss. I say. What I say goes.
Fair
We,
enough.
Bloody hell is it.
we work as a team and we do it my way.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's a democracy, but only if I say so.
That's right.
Bloody
Yeah.
hell.
It's
Timmy's going to
funny,
give you
Paul.
10% off these for the next couple of weeks. Can you organise that, Timmy, till the end of...
Yeah, I'm doing it right now.
You're a legend, man. So the end of November. Is there anything else for Timmy time before we say goodbye?
No, I think
Nah, get rid of
that's pretty much it for today.
Well,
Question
Thanks,
from
Tim, you're a legend.
the question from Sausage
Yeah,
Man
we
was:
love
do
you,
you
Timmy.
guys make a cut-off disc blade in this same material?
He was talking about the big low-speed ones, right? For the Makita Metabo type of
Yeah, the
machines.
friction sword.
Yeah.
Friction sword.
We make our new range of low-speed cutting wheels are thinner than the old ones, but they would be 2.5 mil.
That's right.
good.
Obviously, the bigger in diameter you go, the thicker it has to be. It's
It
just
has
not going to be
for safety reasons.
stable. But our new one is thinner. It's 2.5. The old one was 3. In thin wheel terms, it goes 100 by 1, 115 by 1, 125 by 1. Then you go to 180 by 1.6, 230 by 1.9. These are all
Right.
angle grinder sizes. Knife makers wouldn't use 230 by 1.9, but no, there's only the 1 mil really only goes up to 125 mil,
Good on you.
5-inch.
So yeah, we can get something for you, Jamie. And in fact, the first time I met these guys, I went round to their store. We were having problems cutting hardened SUP 9, big lengths of hardened SUP 9, big stuff. And with a friction saw, these guys sorted us out. The product that they gave us was miles better than what we were using. So definitely, Cole and Timmy can help you out with that. Timmy, have a good night. All the best.
See you guys.
Thanks,
I'm not gonna
Timmy.
play the
We love you.
outro.
Thanks,
See you, boys.
Timmy.
All right, good. So that's good.
Well,
I think Kev was going to say
now-
something
Well, I
complimentary
was going to
about
say
our
now
product.
that I was actually, but Corin kept dishing me out of there. Bloody hell, with his 10% discount, which is great value. Go to Gamaco with bloody hell as the discount code. It was as you said though, Paul. Like put that product into someone's hands and get them to have a go at it.
Yeah,
And that's exactly what Corin did with myself and probably Mert and a few others as well.
yeah.
Said, try this Klingspor thing. And of course, me being me and cutting all the steel that I do, because I'm a full-time maker, I run classes, I cut a lot of my angle, 125 mil angle grinder gets a hell of a workout. He handed me those discs, and I've got to admit, man, like this is not just blowing wind up your pipes. I was amazed. And the change or the reduction in usage of those things or the better life of those things was so noticeably increased that it was just, I was like, hang on, there's got to be something going on here. The test products, the ones like you were saying before, just to get you in, and the actual product's not going to be as good.
Yeah.
People trust
so let's
us,
have
you
a
know.
little competition. Let's have a little Grab and Co competition. I'm going to give away 25 cutting discs to the comment section for Nev. What's the competition going to be?
The competition is going to be to see who can cut through the thickest piece of steel.
Oh
using
no!
a
Something
one-
they can
No,
do.
don't do that. Don't do that. Please don't. The thinnest.
No. Caveat, guys. Earlier in the conversation, we were talking about the 1 mil cutting discs. They are based off using a 2 millimeter cut, but knife makers, we just do things to the extreme. So we take things extreme. I'm not sure, Corin. We need to have something creative here, I think, to get a 25 pack of
definitely.
discs.
Boys, you got any ideas what you want from the people watching the show right now to win a box of 25 cutting discs?
On the spot.
What do you want from them? The best question, the best review, 5-star review on our Gamaco page. Yeah, that'd be good. What are we going to do? That was well thought out, wasn't it? We don't know.
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
I think you do both, and we'll provide the discs. We'll provide the discs. So two separate things. Box of 25 each. Best question.
Okay, let's
It's
go.
not the best
question
compliment.
in the next
You're
2 minutes.
just forcing
Okay.
people to say things they don't want to say.
Yeah, exactly right.
Come on.
They've been calling me a cabbage all night. Don't worry about it.
Oh,
Okay, the best question.
Or
Let's
the
go.
best
What's the best
Klingspor
question?
experience.
Yeah, best
Yeah.
Klingspor experience.
If it
Let's
was
go.
the best- if it was the best
there is a
dad
strip
joke-
club in Poland. I think I've had the best Klingspor experience in.
I was about to say, if it was the best
Frank
dad
knows it.
joke, I'd win a box, and you'd have the second
Yeah.
box.
I think so. I think so.
All right, let's get some questions going, guys.
Righto.
It's gonna
And watch
take a
everyone
while.
now go, oh,
We've put them on the spot now.
Right. So you guys don't just do belts though, and you don't just do the cut-off discs.
Hmm.
Tell me about
Yeah.
the other products you do, like for example, the non-woven products, those wheels and the finishing belts, if you like.
Hmm.
Yeah.
There's a whole range. Our price book's 130 pages or something. This is just what we stock in Australia. So there's all sorts of things. Tungsten carbide, there it is. Look, Frank's modeling it now. Tungsten carbide burrs and spindle mounted flat wheels, big, small flat wheels, rolls of all sizes, Velcro discs.
I just a minute. I've got to interrupt. Cole is chasing some samples on tungsten carbide burrs.
Yep.
Okay.
So we're going to talk to you about that later.
Yeah.
Anyway, keep going.
Okay.
Yep.
So the range is pretty massive. In terms of knife makers are interesting because they work with plastics, sometimes aluminium, all metals, from the sort of, exotic steels down to brass and aluminium. We've got it all covered, really. Wood, leather, even.
Yeah.
So, anytime you want to grind or finish any of those products, that's where we come in.
All right. So we've got some questions coming up now. I found the third thin cutting disc to outperform most others by a fair margin in both cutting life. Anyone know how the Klingspor perform against them? Nick Allen, I tell you what, whether you win the best question or not, I'm going to send you some discs and you can tell us next week. All right?
Yeah, good point.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
the perfect response.
Good one, Nick. If you can just send me your details, please, on Facebook, I will look after that first thing in the morning. Oh, well, I'll get Tim to look after it first thing in the morning. Should I throw my Norton Blaze belts in the bin? Norton Blaze belts are great.
Next
Enjoy
question.
But when you come to replace them, do try the Reapers. There are some advantages. We find we don't get as much build-up from the Reapers. Now, there's a compound that the Norton ones tend to leave a residue on the wheels and so forth, and that is greatly reduced with the Reapers. It's actually the biggest problem we had with those belts, so worth checking out.
Speaking of the difference between the Blaze and the Reaper, I haven't had any Reaper blow my face, but as of last month, I had 4 Blaze belts, which cut great, explode while I'm grinding sharpened knife, which is not you want to have, like when you're trying to grind a thin knife in your hand. So
no, you don't want that, Nerd. If you can send those back anyway, I'll take it up with our rep anyway. So that's a different kettle of fish. Okay.
Just to point out, those were not the Reaper belts, not the Klingspor belts. They were somebody else's. I'm not naming
inferior competition. Blah.
Yeah.
Okay. Matt Snape's question is the zebra a white horse with black stripes or a black horse with white stripes? Thank you, Matt.
I think it's a white horse with black stripes.
What is your best belt you would recommend and why?
What's the application? What's the application?
Klingspor belts because they're great. There you go. There's the answer.
There's the answer. Yeah.
There is something in the Klingspor range.
But in saying that, we have a belt and a belt material for every application.
And it is an interesting question, though, because people assume that the most expensive belt or a ceramic belt is always going to be the best thing. It's not. We have belts that, if you want to grind timber, we have belts that are open coat, so the grains are actually set apart a little bit further so that they don't clog up. You can use a ceramic belt on timber; it'll cut. I mean, any belt will cut anything.
Do we buy those belts?
CS311.
Open coat.
Well, let's
No.
get some
So
samples.
for timber, they last longer because they don't clog as easily. So,
Excellent.
so yeah, best belt for the application. That's the key. Yeah, aluminium as well. That belt works
Yeah.
particularly well on aluminium because
Yeah, right.
aluminium just clogs the shit out of everything.
Yeah, right.
Glenn Potter asked a question up top, Corin, about
And this
are the
one?
1
Sorry.
millimeter discs any good for non-ferrous metals?
Oh, good question.
Yes, they
What
are.
was the first bit? Sorry.
What was the
Are
question?
1
millimeter
millimeter
discs?
discs any
Oh,
good for
yes.
non-ferrous metals?
We have one called the A60N,
Yeah.
which is specifically designed for aluminium, and it will work well on brass too. Yeah.
All right, we can get some of those as well.
Yeah, it's basically the same
the current
work,
one
but
you sell, Corin, works well with brass, bronze, and other stuff.
it does
from my
actually. It
experience.
works particularly well. But if you're cutting a lot of aluminium, this is a special disc for aluminium. It's basically a softer bond because
Yeah, nice.
the rule is the harder the material you want to cut, the harder the wheel needs to be. The softer the material you cut, the softer the wheel needs to be. So, yeah, there is one that's particularly good for that. Yeah. What's that
Okay,
question?
Owen
How?
Ward wants to know how many sharp pencils you can sharpen. Good on you, Owen. You're having a go, mate. How
Owen's one of
Depends,
our-
that depends.
Owen's
That
one of our
depends very much on how big your
special
pencil is.
listeners. Really small. His pencil's like that big.
It's like a nub. Yeah. Okay.
Jay Cross says how your 240 grit ceramics so much better than anything else.
We don't do
I
it
don't know. Have
240
you
grits
seen?
ceramic.
Have you seen us? Look at us. I mean, it's what we do.
Nathan says, what's the best grit to start with to get rid of it? Look again, Nathan, 2x72s. What's the best grit to start with to get used to the belt? Honestly, mate, it depends on what you're doing. If you're stock removing, profiling, finishing, you need to select this just like any other belt, mate.
Yeah.
Just select it just like any other belt.
Play around with it.
Bobby Smith wants to know what new products.
New products. I don't know. My feeling is that the ceramics will just get better and better. To be honest with you, I think ceramic is as good as it gets and here to stay. As far as knife makers are concerned, that's just going to get better for sure.
Okay, so Matt Snape says for hardened steel, I think he means, but he's probably had a few, so give him a break. From 40 profile grinding to 600 finishing, what belts do I buy?
Start with the Reaper, yeah.
Start with the Reaper and then move to a finer grit aluminium oxide.
Look, I would honestly recommend, Matt, that you just get on the phone to Cole and spend an hour talking to him about all the different ways you could do that, because that just depends on what you're grinding. Stainless steels, carbon steels, hardened steels, post-heat treat, pre-heat treat. But definitely, my definite recommendation is to switch down to aluminium oxide, CS310s once you get to the higher grits. All right, they're very cheap, very cheap belts. Right, and they work much better than ceramics. Not
cheap, good value, Corin. Sorry, didn't mean to correct you there.
Cost effective.
Such a great point.
Yeah.
Do you have a preference for soft metals, non-ferrous, guys?
Yeah. Again, this CS311 that's good for timber is open coat, doesn't clog as easily. That's the one.
Okay, so we'll get some samples of that, guys.
Yep.
I'll get Cole onto that in the morning. You guys will talk to Cole, and we'll get some samples out there and try them out, and we'll get a bit of a review going on what we think as well. So that'll be good. Do you have any problems with fake Klingspor? Is there such a thing, fake Klingspor product in the market?
Yeah, we do. We have in the cutting and grinding, not in belts, but there are some companies in China that will produce wheels for you with Klingspor branded wheels, and in Australia, Australia and New Zealand, three companies I've had to take to court for that. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't go. It never gets to court. I mean, we just tell them what it's going to cost them if it does go to court, and then they just give us all the stock, and we snap them all and put them in the bin.
All you need to say to those guys is,
yeah,
do you realise we have our own fire station at our head office?
Yeah, we've got a lot more money than they have.
He meant Klingspor.
By the way, guys, Amoco is never, ever, ever interested ever in selling pirated product. If you're buying from Amoco, You can be sure you're getting the right product, or we don't know we're doing the wrong thing. I can absolutely guarantee it. There's no way we'd ever let that happen. We're not interested. So if you're buying from us, you know you're getting the right product. All right? We're not in it. We're in it for the long term, guys. So that's it's as simple as that. We're not in it to be the cheapest, and I don't want to be the cheapest. I want to give you guys the very best product at the very best price that we can do.
Yeah.
My God, there's a lot of questions. All right, this is going to go on for ages. So
we might need to review some of the questions later and make our mind up on these, because they're coming in thick and fast now.
Jimmy says, bloody hell, one word is the discount code for 10% off 1x125 Klingspor abrasive cut-off disc. Thank you very much.
I'm buying a pack just so I can write bloody hell in there.
Look, there's just heaps of questions there. I know I said the best question, but I might just scroll up and down a few times here on the comments and just go bang, and I reckon we can probably come up with something. Actually,
you know who's been very active tonight, and I like the look of him, like the cut of his jib. Our mate from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, Jamie.
Yeah, he's had plenty to say all day, and look at him. He's great. He's awesome, isn't he? So it's got to be him for me.
Yeah, that's all right. You guys can give Jamie one. That's cool.
Yeah,
I'll give one to. I'm going to give one to a guy that I really respect. Actually, his name's Bobby Smith. This guy's been filing knives by hand since day one. He's been going for years. I look at his work, and it's top notch. He uses a file. It's about time he upstepped to a grinder, and I think a few cutting discs will help him out. So, Bobby, this one's for you, mate. If you can just send me your details. Sausage Man, you can pick up your pack next time you're in. Bobby, send me your details, and I will get that off to you, mate. Have a good one. Thank you to everybody who's contributed tonight. It's really, really great to have you all here with us. Really fantastic to have the guys from Klingspor. Really appreciate your time. It's getting a bit late now, and I understand that it's a late night, but we really, really appreciate you coming on and doing what you've done for us. If anybody's got any questions that we haven't answered, I'm talking serious questions, get in touch with Cole and Tim. They'll get your answers for them. They will go to these guys, get the answers that you want. All right? We're not walking away from anything. We're just out of time. Look, Cole's already put up a list of the best belts to get between 40 and 600, so he's all over it like a rash. Guys, thank you very much. Is there anything else we want to wrap up with? Back to you guys.
No, thanks for asking us. It's been a pleasure as always. Everything to do with Gameco is always good fun. So we're happy to give you whatever advice we can give you anytime. Not just now, anytime. Of course.
Anytime.
Yeah. Just not. Just to be clear, I'm turning the phone off now.
So there's another question here that actually is not a bad one. Jimmy Barber's asking, do you guys have a belt guide showing applications and stuff? Do you guys do a guide that could give people some insights? If not, I'll get Cole to write one up specifically for knife making. Yeah,
we can help with that. We can help. Yeah, I mean, it's specifically for knife makers. You guys are probably. We can certainly help in terms of graphics and stuff, and we could between us a bit of a collaborative thing.
Yeah,
sure we could. Yeah, why not? It's a great idea.
The biggest problem we face is people just don't know what to buy. The range that we stock is enormous because everybody has their favorites, and so I just try and help as many people as possible. But but if we could give them something that says this is a good belt, and you use it like this at this speed, and it'll do this, that'd be great. So
I think it could be a Klingspor Gameco co-production.
Something that we can work on together for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
From my dealings with most people, pictures are good for knife makers.
Yeah,
not many words. Not many words.
No, we've got all the images, all the graphics, and now I hear what you're saying, mate. Yeah, no problem.
Cole's got another insightful comment. Gameco Artisan Supplies does not sell the cheapest stuff. We sell the best stuff. If it is also the cheapest stuff, that's a happy coincidence.
That's right.
That's a bonus. That's what we're into. We've got the best steel. We bring it from the best mills in the world. We've got the best abrasives. I'm not into the other stuff. If you want to go and get the cheap opposition, whatever, do whatever you like. I don't care.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And Matt Matt Snape wants us to put that that publication in a wall chart as soon as we make it.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
We can do that. That's a good
Sounds
good
good.
plan. Yeah.
A3 wall chart that we can laminate, stick up in the workshop. That'd be
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. And Timmy
Yeah.
says he loves pictures. Thanks, Timmy. Always a good contributor. Thank
Oh,
you, everybody.
Timmy.
Have a
We
good
love
night.
Timmy time.
Right,
Thanks again,
all
guys,
the
for joining
stay
us.
on. Everybody else, if you wouldn't mind having a great night, and we really appreciate your business. We really appreciate your support. It's absolutely phenomenal. So thank you very much. Sure, Kev. Last words.
Yeah, no.
Log it off. We're out.
Thanks
See you
to
guys.
thanks to everyone that liked my dad jokes. Don't
Thanks,
get any
guys.
better than that.
You idiots.
Thanks, gents.